Well, it must be Friday because it's time for another episode of the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. Welcome to the program. Chances are right now you're doing one of three things. You're watching the video live on Facebook. You're watching the video on YouTube or LinkedIn, or you're listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Whatever it may be, happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. And as we do every Friday, we bring in our financial philosopher. There he is right over there. Phillip Washington Jr., say hello to the Mansfieldites.
How's it going, Mansfieldites? Hope you have a great Mother's Day weekend coming up.
I was just about to say, it's Mother's Day. You got big plans?
I do. Just trying to spoil the missus, the mother, the queen of the household, all weekend.
And we don't have to spoil any surprises, so you don't have to tell what you're about to do. But you've got, I think you mentioned this off the air, that you have an entire weekend planned for.
Yes, they get the whole weekend. Mothers do.
Yes, and we only get a few hours for Father's Day.
Right? Yeah, just lunch.
It's all right.
It's all right. Cool. Look, as long as all we want is peace, so we're easy anyway. Just give me peace.
That's right. Today, we are talking about the basic building blocks of an economy. Now, when I think of building blocks, I go back to my childhood of Lincoln Logs or Tinker Toys, where you're actually just building stuff with building log cabins or blocks. And so this is the elementary version of an economy, the building blocks of economy.
Absolutely, yeah. It's what are the components, the cooperative components of an economy, and it's four, right? There's the consumer, which is what the economy is built around, the wants and desires of the consumer. There's production, which is producing goods and services. There's distribution, or how you get the message out and the goods and services to the people. And then there's money, right? Because money is like what we use for trade and what allows the production and distribution to happen. And those are the four basic components. And understanding them makes you a better investor, business owner, and everything. Because it's like trying to create sentences or speak if you don't know your ABCs. I mean, it's possible, but it's a lot easier if you know your ABCs.
Well, let's go over them one at a time. Then number one was consumer, which that's you and me.
That is you and me, right? And so the consumer is going to dictate what goods and services that you provide, right? Because consumers in Texas want different things than consumers in California, yeah, and consumers in even Mansfield, may want different things than consumers in Duncanville, right? So the consumer will provide the information to the entrepreneurs of what to produce and distribute to the consumers.
Right. Number two was
production, right? And so production is the making and creating, or creating of the goods and services. So go ahead.
And that doesn't necessarily mean manufacturing, because production can also be AI is a production piece.
AI is production, right? Producing this show is a production. Producing a newsletter is production. Producing legal services is production. So it's the process of creating what the consumer wants.
What was number three?
Distribution. So distribution and it's two parts of distribution. It's sales and advertising, or getting the word out about your services, but then it's also delivering the actual product. So that's distribution. And then money, which is, like the blood that flows through the economy that allows you to attract the workers for production, attract the people and workers for distribution, the way the consumers pay for the goods and services, and the way that the investors provide their savings and investment in order to help grease the wheels of the economy.
Right. So when I think of distribution, at least from the podcast standpoint, is taking the podcast and uploading it to the server. So the server distributes it to worldwide. and then you said the money and the marketing. That's the getting the word out.
Well, distribution and marketing is still distribution. Money,
Right.
Yep.
Right, and then the again the fourth.
Fourth is the money.
Is the money.
Fourth is the money. Yep. The lifeblood, the grease, the thing that flows through everything and connects it and keeps it all together.
And so with the four, when you put the four together, that's understanding that helps the consumer understand.
Yep. How everything goes together. So for example, you can go to any country at any period in time in history, and you're going to have those four components of every economy. And then once you understand it, then you know, okay, the driving force, or said a different way, what attracts money, right? So understand the four components, then you go, all right, what's going to attract the money, right? And I didn't say this in my podcast, so it's good that we're saying it here. But what attracts money? Well, money is going to be attracted to technology that is providing what the consumers want. And that's important because there's a lot of businesses right now that are struggling. And the reason why they're struggling is their feeling of what the consumer want is off. So meaning like, I'm not making an ageist comment. I'm just making the point so that it's understood in a non-abstract way. But I'm saying like a lot of very successful 60-year-olds that made a lot of money over the last 20 years providing services for the 60-year-olds, for their peers, are now looking at the economy and going, man, stuff is not working. They've borrowed money, they've gotten two-way in debt, right? Trying to make up in the gap of misunderstanding consumer, and they're going, oh man, these young kids are dumb. Why don't they want my product? Because they're not your generation. You know what I mean? Like the consumer's changed, and you didn't change with the consumer, so you're overloaded in debt, trying to squeeze out returns and things that didn't work, and you're judging the consumer. So like you're saying, 40-year-olds, you're stupid. 30-year-olds, you're stupid. You don't want my product. Okay, I don't want your product then. Like you're calling me stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna I know what I want. I'm intelligent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and get the products of the entrepreneurs and businesses that are delivering what I want, regardless of how you feel about what I want, right? And I think that's, technology or productivity is the engine or the force that is what I call change, that is either embraced or not, but it can deliver the product the consumer wants, right? And money follows that, right? Like money follows that. Money is objective. Money's like, I don't care which generation, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
We're creating this for. I just want to grow.
And you know what? I did something yesterday that I could not have done 10 years ago, and that was I got to play with robots. And it was very, very cool. And that's the future. And they're working with robots now. And I'm going to do a segment on this on this podcast within the next 2 or 3 weeks, of how robots are playing into working with Alzheimer patients, and but then also working with kids with ADHD or ADD, and so yeah, for a half an hour I got to play with robots.
I bet that was fun.
Oh yeah. It was, and that's embracing the future, which we've talked about a number of times.
Yeah, and it's also because it's also like even within, so there's like 60-year-olds that never had their itch scratched by their generation.
Yeah.
That the solution that they've always wanted is here, right? But because they have judged it, they can't get it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that have lived long time on Earth that hate healthcare or hate their job, right? I mean, hate their job. I got a client, 30 years, right? Can't wait to retire.
Yeah.
Can't wait to retire. Like, that's the conversation we always have for the last 7 years. And I said, hey, what about this, right? Because something happened in their life that like changed, and so now they're in situation where they're forced to either embrace the future or like live a terrible life moving forward. And I was like, from their perspective, and I was like, hey, have you ever thought about like, you know, doing a podcast, doing this, doing that? And his like eyes lit up, and I was like, yeah, because if you did that, you build it right, you'll work 10 hours a week, you can travel. And I was like, would you ever want to retire as it scales? No, we'd love to do this, right? And I could do this from anywhere. You can do this from anywhere.
That's right.
And that would be amazing, right? But I was like, but it's here. Like, this is not a pipe dream. You can actually, you are perfectly equipped for this specific role. It was made for you. You just got to walk into it. You know what I mean? And so it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a great world or a terrible world, depending on like your perspective.
As long as you have a microphone and the internet, you can do it from the sands of Cozumel.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what's the it wasn't Jamaica. What's the place that you
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
Yeah, one of the 19 islands of the Caribbean that we want to go to all of them.
We should go do our podcast from St. Lucia.
We should.
I mean, it'd be a business expense, wouldn't it?
That would absolutely. We'd have to make sure Allison codes it properly.
So to recap, let's go ahead and recap. We'll get into your contact information.
All right. So recap, basic building blocks. That's the way the economy works. The economy always grows towards the, best productive expression of the consumer's desires. Money follows that. To the extent that you resist and judge that, you miss the opportunity. If you stay up to speed with the flow of life and the flow of money, there's a lot of profit to be made. Right?
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
If someone wanted to stay the course with Phillip Washington Jr., how can they reach out to you?
The best way now moving forward is my newsletter, wealthbuildingmadesimple.us. Wealthbuildingmadesimple.us. It's going to be live June 1st. You can join the wait list. It's going to cost, but only $200 a year or $25 a month. Check it out.
That's Phillip Washington Jr. We do this every Friday right here on the podcast. This is the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. Phillip, happy Mother's Day to your wife, and let's do this again next week.
Tell Maria I said the same. Thanks.